Good morning. I beg you, please share this video. I really don't care about the numbers. But for black people, for black women, I need you to hear this if you don't hear nothing else in your damn life. Sister, if you are giving birth to a child, if you plan on giving birth to a child, I need you to listen to me. Sisters, I need you to listen to me like you ain't listened to a black man before. Don't you take your ass to a hospital that you done asked 1,000 questions before you stepped your ass in there. Do you hear me, sister? I worked in the ICU the other night. I'm normally a trauma medic in the emergency room, but I picked up a shift in the ICU. And we immediately got a sister in there who had an emergency C-section, and she had internal bleeding, hemorrhaging. Now the baby was taken out and the sister was brought up to the ICU and critical care, critical condition. We could not figure out where she was bleeding from, and we were trying to keep this sister alive. I turned to the doctor at some point, doctor that does not look like us, and I say, doctor, can you come take a look at her stomach? It's getting really distended. And her BP, her blood pressure is not going down. That doctor looked at me and said, that's my patient. I'll be over there in a minute. 2 hours later, after this sister coded on that table 2 times and we had to get her back, we finally get her down to the operating room. And yeah, that hemorrhage that they thought they controlled with that emergency C-section was not controlled. She was still having internal bleeding, which was killing her. Black people, I need you to hear me. If you can take your black ass to Target, if you can go to Walmart, if you can buy and spend and do for all these corporations that don't give a damn about you, your black ass, your black community, your black race, you can ask questions for that black baby. I don't care if you think you're annoying, the doctor think you're annoying, the hospital think you're annoying. I don't care if God himself think you're annoying from asking too many questions. Ask the question, sister. Because there's going to be a certain point in that pregnancy where you ain't going to have the ability to ask not a damn thing, sister. It's going to be out of your hands. So while it's in your hands, sister, I'm going to need you to take control of that pregnancy. Black men, don't you let that woman go into that hospital and you don't know every inch of that building. You need to know if something goes wrong, who is going to put their hands on your woman, on your child. And other black people, if you work in a hospital, speak up. Say something.
There's a lot of things on the internet that I don't approve of. There's a lot of things that, a lot of negative things that come along with social media. But we're living in a time where people can share information. You can share information, and something happens that don't, you realize, or you see that's not normal, or that you see that the average person wouldn't know unless the information was put out there for them to see. So when I run across things like this here, then I say, you know what? In so many ways, it's a blessing we have people out there that's not afraid to step up and give us the information that we need in order to navigate through these shark infested waters. Uh, Hey man, it's just in our DNA as black folks to be compassionate. It really is. It really is. It's just in our DNA. You can go ahead.
Yeah. In his case, I understand I'm grateful that he put the message out there, but here we had a doctor, just like the doctor was quick to say that was my patient. Then ultimately that doctor was responsible for that lady's life and her baby life. And so when you're choosing a doctor, when you're making a relationship with the doctor, see, that's the one thing that women have to do. Make sure that you're getting your checkups. Make sure that you know your gynecologist or your OB doctor, so that you have that type of relationship, that you feel comfortable with this man when you are having issues, female issues, or having a baby. You want to make sure that the person that you're putting your body in hands is somebody that you know. And a lot of times what happens is women don't keep up with those. They don't check on themselves with the doctor, don't have a relationship with a gynecologist, and then they get pregnant, and then they have to start seeing somebody that who really doesn't know them. They don't know their history, don't know about them, don't know their needs, don't know anything about them. And that doctor is just like, oh, I'm just here to do a job. He don't really know you. You want to make sure you're choosing somebody that you have a relationship with and you feel comfortable with, because that person is taking stewardship over your life when you under anesthesia or when you're trying to birth your child into this world. You don't want it to be some stranger. And I think we don't do our due diligence when it comes to choosing a doctor. We need to build a relationship with the physician that's taking care of us. We want somebody that knows us. Now, there will be emergency situations where you have to go somewhere, but guess what? They can still call the doctor that knows you. And I think we need to invest more in getting to know who we are allowing to care for us. Because when you're under, anything can be done to you. And it's not saying that even if you do all that, that person don't have an evil spirit or that person ain't right and will do things to you and harmful. I've seen all kinds of things, in the ER when people are under, how certain doctors like certain music, they chewing gum, they're just having a grand old good old time, in there, because that's their practices. You just have to really, really be careful. And family members, a lot of family members don't know this, but you can ask when your family member is having a surgery to be a witness to that surgery. There's a room, a special room where you can sit in and watch what they're doing to your loved one when they have it. They won't tell you that, but it is, because that's how the students get to learn about what's going on in the OR. So they do have those special rooms where you can sit in and look in and see what's going on with your loved one. But yes, do your due diligence, ask around, make sure it's a decent hospital, make sure it's a good doctor, check him out. Go on the research and see if he's had any complaints about him. I remember this surgery in Miami when all these girls was going to get these BBLs and all this here. And this doctor, he was one of the doctors that had killed a couple of people because his techniques was bad. He was unclean going in there, and he was causing people their lives. Do your research on these doctors before you hand yourself over to them. Do it, because you can.
Yeah, I think to what he's trying to convey is that, for us, we have to be extra careful on who we're dealing with, because it's a difference between a person that's going, because when you're in any kind of profession where there's life or death is concerned, it's different from working over at the Amazon or Walmart.
Correct.
Where, hell, if you check the wrong box in, shit get messed up, the account get messed up, the package may end up in the wrong place. It's a do-over. You lose a little money, it's a do-over. You lose your job or whatever. But when you got people life in your hand, it becomes more than just a job. And the question is, am I going to take that extra step to help this human being? Am I going to stay within my job to say, okay, I did X, Y, and Z, so I'm clear when I know I can do X, Y, Z, and then 1, 2, 3 to make sure that this person is getting the proper care that they're getting? And that's in all jobs. That's you
Public
know
servants.
public service, or in jobs where people lives are on the line. So I think that's the message that he's trying to convey for the most part.
And unfortunately, I hate that he lost his job for doing this, but I hope that he finds other employment. And I hope that this doesn't deter him from continuing to be the person that he is, to speak out, open your mouth. I mean, we have an obligation that when a doctor, just because they're the doctor, don't mean that they're God. If you see a doctor doing something that's wrong that can potentially harm that person, I hope that you will speak up. If you're a nurse, if you're a tech, I hope you will speak up, even at the risk that it may cause your job, because it is somebody's life. And I think you will want that same thing if it was you.